congratulations. How are you guys feeling?
Thank you.
I'm feeling great.
I'm so tired.
You're like, I'm fabulous.
She's gonna take a nap after this, I guarantee.
It's exhausting. We went on a week-long RV trip last week too, and I didn't get a lot of sleep because Alessi was sleeping in our room with us, so I'm just so tired. But we're very, very excited.
So exciting. I mean, did you have any idea that you would, like, did twins ever even enter your mind?
No.
No.
It's funny because I guess twins or fraternal twins run on the mother's side, and I never knew that I had twins on my side until after I found out I was having twins. And then my mom's like, oh yeah, I guess you do have some second cousins that are twins. I'm like, oh, thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, we actually Googled it, I would say 2 weeks before we found out. Just sort of, I don't know, we were on the internet and I was like, what, that would be so crazy if we had twins. And then we looked, and such a slim possibility, and we didn't do any sort of IVF or anything like that. So it's a natural occurrence. It's just kind of wild.
We were shocked.
Totally. I mean, we saw the video that you guys posted on YouTube of your initial reaction, but were you scared at first? You're like, oh my God, how? I was just expecting one, and now I'm going from not 1 to 2, I'm going from 1 to 3.
Yeah. I mean, I was nervous because we had that miscarriage earlier last year, and all I wanted was for one healthy pregnancy I didn't have to stress about. And then when 2 were thrown into it, I was totally thrown off, and I was like, oh my gosh, like so many things could go wrong because there's twins now. So that really scared me in the beginning, but we're at 18 weeks now.
Yep.
And we're doing great. So we're really happy.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I'm sure it was so stressful just dealing with the miscarriage after that. Were you nervous to even tell people at first because of everything that happened? You know, like what was kind of your mindset in that moment?
Yeah, I was afraid to tell people after the miscarriage that we were pregnant again, just for fear that we would lose the babies again. And then I would have to talk to everyone about it and not be ready to talk about it yet. That was always a fear of mine. So once I got past that 12-week mark, I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better.
But still,
okay.
Yeah, she's still stressed.
Even then I was still stressed.
She's still stressed as of like last week.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I think when, for her, this pregnancy is so much different than Alessi.
Mm-hmm.
With Alessi, it was just, we didn't really, we were just kind of figuring it out as we went, and there was no real stress about it. But I think.
Yeah, I had no reason to stress about anything.
Right.
And now I question everything. I call my doctor once a week, and I'm like, I have this really weird pain happening. Is it okay? Can I come in and see you? And she's like, yes, Lauren, you can come in.
Yeah, like the doctor on speed dial. But like, what has been the biggest difference between being pregnant with 1 and being pregnant with 2? Obviously, you're showing a lot sooner. I mean, that's normal with the second pregnancy anyway. But what's been the biggest difference for you so far?
I mean, I think you kind of nailed it already. I just am growing so rapidly. Like I was trying on outfits today for a video Arie and I were doing, and I was so out of breath I couldn't even breathe trying to put my shoes on.
To put her shoes on for her.
I'm only 18 weeks at this point. And also something that's funny is I'll go out like to run errands or whatever, and people will be like, oh, how many weeks are you? And I think they're expecting me to say something around 30. And I'm like, oh, 18. And they're like, oh, wow.
I'm sure you're finding you're like, oh, I have to wear my maternity clothes now, rather than I was probably like 28 weeks before when I was putting maternity clothes stuff on.
Yeah, I've been wearing them for a while.
Yeah, I totally don't even worry about it. I mean, Arie, how have you been pampering Lauren during this time? And what's it been different for you?
I need to pamper her more, I will say. I think it's different now because we have Alessi. So I think my contribution is maybe taking Alessi for a walk or watching her while she gets some rest. Yeah. Whereas before it'd be more like massages and baking her pies or cookies or whatever. So I think it's a little different now that we have 1 and we're just balancing that. Her morning sickness has been unreal compared to the first time. Mm-hmm. So that was really hard. But now, thankfully, she's a little over that side of it, but now you're just getting tired. But I mean, that's all normal things, but I try to do things, but I could do more.
Honestly, I get so excited whenever he's like, oh, I'll watch Alessi when she wakes up from her nap so you can sleep. I'm like, oh, you're an angel.
You're like, that's the best gift that you can give right now. I mean, talk a little bit more about like the morning sickness and, what were the pregnancy cravings that are different this time around too?
So like you said, I did have morning sickness really severely in the beginning. I wasn't I didn't classify as having whatever that is. I don't know.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
But I felt like I was almost there. I didn't really eat a lot because nothing sounded appetizing. I would be so hungry, but then I couldn't eat at the same time. So it was like torture. And I always sit there in the pantry in the fridge. And I'm like, Arie, help me. Like, what do I eat? I still do that.
You also say there's like not enough room. Like it feels like you get full quick.
Well,
so she eats often.
That's now.
Yeah.
But like the morning sickness was, that was
and with Alessi, she would eat ice cream almost every night. Sweets, like chocolate, ice cream,
and pasta.
And we both gained so much weight.
I wanted everything unhealthy with Alessi. And this time, even from the beginning, I haven't wanted sweets. Like sweets have kind of grossed me out.
Yeah.
And I want fresh fruits and vegetables and all the healthy things, which is great. But I get hungry a lot more often because that doesn't fill me up always. So
right. Yeah. And it's probably hard now too, because you're like, you can't blame it on, oh, it's a girl, you know, I'm having a girl, that's why I want more sweets, or I'm having a boy, you have both. So now like you would think that like you'd be craving everything, right?
Yeah.
I know, it's weird. Maybe it is because I'm having one boy though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, how shocked were you guys about that? Like one boy, one girl. I mean, Arie, you must be excited that you're not going to be totally dominated by girls in the house.
I know. I was like, whatever the outcome, I'm going to embrace it. It's going to be amazing. But, you know, in the back of my head, I was like, if there was one boy in there, it'd be so cool because then I wouldn't be the only guy in the house.
Yeah. He never said that until after we found out.
Of course.
Of course.
I feel like you have to prepare for anything, you know? So you just have to have an open mind. And, we were just elated. I was so excited to have a boy. It's going to be cool. We picked out the names.
Oh, wow.
And the middle names.
And the middle names.
You guys are well on your way.
Yeah, we're ready. We're working on the nursery, sort of, waiting for a permit.
Yeah, we're actually we have 2 garages at this house, and we're turning one of the garages into the twins' bedroom.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome.
That's a huge project that we're doing.
Was it a big disagreement on names, or did you guys agree right away, or knew exactly what you were gonna?
Yeah, we
knew.
We decided on these 2 names before Alessi was even born.
Oh wow!
So we both were like, "Oh my gosh, yes and yes!" And
yeah, it was really simple.
Saving them, and now we have a boy and a girl, so it's kind of perfect.
Yeah,
it's kind of perfect. You guys are planning ahead. I know Alessi is far too young to probably understand what is going on, but how are you kind of preparing her? And does she, point to your tummy and just say babies? Is that kind of how it's going?
Yeah. She has started coming. It's kind of funny because I like to wear dresses a lot because not a lot fits me, so I'm wearing dresses, and she'll come up to me, just lift my dress up and like touch my belly and be like baby and kiss my belly, which is so cute. But when it's in public, not the best.
I love that.
I think we fostered a little dog, and then this dog just had puppies, and so now we have puppies in our house, and I think that's helping her too, because it's teaching her how to be gentle and hold them. So I feel like that we were talking about that last night, how that's actually a really cool thing to have at the house, so that we can kind of teach her.
Yeah, and I think it also teaches her to share the attention as well, because everyone comes over normally to see her, but now they come over and they want to see the puppies, so she's having to share the spotlight a little bit already.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is going to be something that we have to figure out, because Alessi is like, for us, she's our world. Like we put her up on this huge pedestal. She gets anything she wants. She's like everything.
Mostly anything. I'm a little bit more strict than Arie.
It's going to be a transition for her. And I'm actually thankful that she's young enough to where I think she'll adapt pretty well. But I feel like there's going to be a couple weeks there where it's pretty hard for
her. Yeah,
I'm sure. But she'll adapt. Like you said, she'll adapt quickly. And she'll be loving being a big sister. I mean, has anybody given you any tips on how to kind of handle that transition?
Really.
I think like a lot of people have reached out and said that we need to make sure that we spend some one-on-one time with Alessi even after the babies are here, and that'll help. Make sure we're doing special things with her before they come too, so that she remembers those things when the babies are here. But I think that's really it. And involving her as much as we can with the babies.
Definitely. I don't want to get too personal, but you guys did say that you tried different things to get pregnant this time around. What were some of those different methods that you guys used?
I've been trying to figure out how to make a video about this for like a month or two now.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep it PG.
Right.
It really is.
What are some of the early things? Okay, so I did ovulation tracking.
Mm-hmm.
I did like a little clear blue ovulation test thing. And I found doing that was great because I learned like what my cycle was like, but it also stressed us out a ton.
Yeah,
I was
just
like,
put too much pressure on
fertility, time to go. And then Arie, like by the time I get to peak fertility, he's like, I can't do it anymore.
I'm like, it's 20 days in a row. Every day is high fertility.
So I was like, he's like, this is too much pressure. It's not even fun anymore. So after that, I was like, all right, fine. I either need to stop using them or just not tell you about the results of the ovulation test.
Yeah.
And that seemed to work a lot better for us.
She used like a natural essential oil.
Yeah. So that was actually the thing I did the month that we got pregnant. I was not really believing in it because I don't really know a lot about essential oils. But one of my friends used this Progessence Plus from Young Living.
Okay.
And she swears like anytime she tries to get pregnant, she just starts taking this in the first month she gets pregnant. So I used that and I was like, whatever, this might work, might not, but I'm not going to like put all my eggs in that basket. So I started using it and little do we know that month we got pregnant. And
funny.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff is gold. It worked.
But I would imagine that it must, because you got pregnant so easily with Alessi, that it was incredibly frustrating for you, you know, because a lot of people say that, you know, I had fertility issues with my first, and, you know, I know how emotionally draining it is. It's terrible. But, you know, it's probably even more frustrating having secondhand fertility after that. I could imagine.
Yeah, it was just kind of surprising, I guess, just because my mom and all of her sisters are like fertile myrtles. None of them have ever really had issues with that. Yeah. So it was never something that popped into my head as a problem. And then obviously we had Alessi. Mm-hmm. There were no issues there. And then we had the miscarriage, which was shocking. And then we had 6 months of trying to conceive again after that, when everyone's saying like you're the most fertile after you have a miscarriage. Mm. And for us, that wasn't true.
It's just like a roller coaster too. You knew what day was your ovulation or when she was ovulating, and then you knew, okay, I should do a pregnancy test, and then I should be able to know this day. So there was a lot of like hope and anticipation, mm-hmm. and we were happy, and then we would get a negative result back, and then we'd be sad. And
I would dread taking the pregnancy test every month because I knew it would ruin my day.
And I was like Mr. Optimistic, and I'm like, no, this is it, this is the month. And then it would be like, oh gosh, this is
I was like, I'm just not gonna take it. And then I would always take it, and then I would just depress me for the day. But I mean, 6 months isn't a long time because a lot of people wait a lot longer than that too. So I don't know, it is really hard though for anyone who's going through it.
Of course, totally. Did you guys take like a million pregnancy tests when you got that positive then?
Yeah, so I took it like the day that I could take it. Mm-hmm. And it was such a faint line. It was so weird. I was like, I don't even know if this is a positive. I think it is, maybe. So I kept taking them every day, and it was still really faint for like 4 or 5 days, maybe even longer than that. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, this may be a chemical pregnancy. I was still questioning it. So I took a million tests. Long story short.
Really did.
But it must have been the best feeling telling Arie then that you guys were pregnant.
We actually were like, okay, so another little side note is that Lauren tends to get a little
moody,
combative. I don't even know how to put it.
Combative, that sounds aggressive.
Okay, not combative. Okay, so you get, all women go through this, but I feel like whenever she gets pregnant, there's like some argument that we have.
You thought I was PMSing.
Right, of course. So I was like, so we were in the middle of kind of like I was watching TV and she was like in her room, and we had like, I don't know, argued about something really dumb. And then she's like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, of course you are. You know, of course. This is exactly what happens. So.
Well, I kept telling him too. I was like, I feel like I'm about to get my period because I just have that feeling. Mm-hmm. And so he was convinced that I was on my period.
Yeah,
and then
true.
surprise. I wasn't.
Like, you can't be mad at me anymore. I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm so thankful I can say that I was crazy for a reason now.
Exactly.
Right? Totally. Have your hormones just been like kind of through the roof? Have you been like super emotional and just crying at everything, or have you not gotten to that stage yet?
Yeah, I cry
Yeah,
at everything. That's like literally everything.
Everything. You did say that you were planning on breastfeeding both of the twins, right? But breastfeeding, obviously, it's hard for everybody the first time around. How is your mentality different? Or do you just feel like, okay, I'm more prepared. I know what's going to happen?
Yeah, my mentality going into this one is way different than it was with Alessi. I
Mhm.
put so much pressure on myself the first time, and I really wanted to make it to at least a year with her.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, that's my goal. I'm gonna hit it, and I couldn't do it. My supply was just low, and I couldn't keep it up. And I think a lot of it had to do with my stress over my milk production. So it was kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Counteracted it for sure.
Yeah. So then this time I am going to try it, but I don't have high expectations. I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, if it works, cool. If not, then they'll be fine on this German formula that I order all the time.
Is it like a formula that you swear by?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, but I think that's the most important thing. As long as you go in with that mindset and you do what's best for you, I think that's fantastic. Is there anything that scares you about having twins or delivering twins? Is there anything that kind of freaks you out about it?
Well,
every twin parent that DMs us or messages us is like, get ready.
Mhm.
You have no idea how hard it is. And it's like, wow, I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be difficult, but I don't know. We're going into it being like, I think it'll be okay.
I mean, we already have one under our belt, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
It'll be hard, but that's okay. I think the thing I'm most scared about is like possibly having to have a C-section, because I had Alessi vaginally, and then I went in this week to my doctor, and we had to schedule that date, and I was like, oh wow, this is getting really real.
Yeah.
So I'm terrified of that. I don't like surgery.
And I just hope that for our experience too, we have a few friends that have given birth. Given birth? Is that what you'll say?
Yeah. I think. Yeah,
I was just trying to get at the whole COVID thing. It's like I hope that it gets a little bit better come the time the twins come, so that we can experience it in a more normal way. Because they allowed me to go to the initial ultrasound right after we found out she was pregnant, but I haven't been back to any ultrasounds since. So, I just would love for the twins to not have to go into the NICU, and then we have to be restricted on seeing them. So we're worried about that is kind of the thing that is weighing on us a little bit.
Yeah.
Such a weird time. Hopefully by that point, because you're due in July, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my C-section, like the latest date would be June 14th.
Okay, so like hopefully by that point we'll be back to normal, I guess. Arie, how are you feeling? I mean, I know that you dealt with COVID and everything like that. Did you kind of make a real full recovery? Have you had any lasting, lingering effects?
No, I'd say about a month. About a month to get my respiratory system back to normal, to where I could jog and not be out of breath and taste things normally and smell things normally. I was just so happy that she didn't contract it, because she, at that time she was pregnant, and it was, just a huge worry of ours. And luckily she didn't catch it. So, but yeah, for me, it wasn't that rough, but it affects everybody differently. So I'm just thankful that she didn't get it.
Yeah, that's good. And you guys just celebrated 2 years of marriage. I mean,
Yep.
that's pretty amazing. I mean, does it feel so good to prove everybody wrong that you're like, we have,
We're so past that. I don't even.
It's kind of funny to think of it that way.
Yeah, it is kind of funny.
Looking back at it now, it's kind of funny because everyone didn't think we were going to make it, but here we are. 3 kids later.
3 kids later, but like you are probably like one of the most successful Bachelor couples that have come out of the show, and I think that's pretty fantastic that like so many, like you said, so many people doubted you in the beginning, and now look at me now.
Yeah, we always knew it was going to work out from the beginning.
Yeah,
so it's not a surprise to us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had a blast. We are doing this little tradition where she wears her wedding dress and I wear my tux, and it's just like, I think it's gonna be so cool. I don't know, 15, 20 years from now, hopefully we could both fit in our wedding attire. But I just think it's really cool how we've continued that, and hopefully we'll continue that for a really long time.
I know. Lauren, I was so impressed that you were able to fit it being pregnant with twins. I'm like, that is impressive.
I was impressed too.
Like, that is fantastic. I mean, obviously I know that the babies aren't even here yet, but is 3 the max number? Is that like where you guys want to kind of cap it off?
I don't know.
I think we're going to see how it goes and then decide. We're thinking maybe 4 would be the cap. Like no more than 4. But we may do 1 more after. We'll have to see.
Yeah, you're like, ask me in like a year or 2. We'll see how that goes.
Make it out alive. Then we'll maybe have 1 more.
You will. Have you been able to keep up with like exercise and things like that during this pregnancy too?
I walk a lot, and that's really like, and sometimes I do at-home workouts with Arie, but other than that, I'm not going. I used to go to classes all the time outside of the house, and I just get a little weirded out by the whole COVID thing, so I don't really go to those anymore.
A lot of at-home workouts these days. I feel like we have a really small room off of our master, and we have some weights in there, and we try to stay fit.
Definitely. Has this time together, so much time together, I know you guys spend a lot of time together anyway, but has it tested your relationship at all? Or has, this past year done that to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're just around someone 24/7, you're constantly being tested anyways. Like, no matter who you are, how strong of a couple you are, there's always little spats that arise.
Yeah.
But they're usually over the dumbest things.
They always are over the dumbest things. It's usually over time. Like, we're both very independent. We have so many things going on. Lauren has her clothing line. We have partnerships that we do, and I have real estate, and we're always like, just kind of like the fight is over time, really, to be able to do our work.
Yeah, like time for our work, time for each other, time with Alessi.
Yeah, so it's funny how that it's always comes down to that, but we manage, and I think that the good thing that we had going for us is before this whole quarantine thing, we spent pretty much 24 hours a day together anyway, so it hasn't changed that much for us.
That's good. I know you guys you take trips and things like that, so you are doing like romantic things, but do you do date nights at home at all? Or are you guys just so tired once Alessi goes to bed that you're like, I just want to sit on the couch, don't even talk to me?
Well, we were doing date nights a lot more earlier, like before I got pregnant, and now I'm tired, so I just fall asleep on the couch. But
Lauren is the queen of date night at the house. She has set up movie night in the backyard. She literally goes all out. Like, she's definitely the creative one and the romantic, I would say.
You're pretty romantic too.
Thanks. But I have to give you some credit because she's a really good planner when it comes to like extravagant date night.
I love that. That's great. And have you guys been making time to watch The Bachelor this season?
Gosh, we haven't. This sounds so bad because obviously we're a part of this franchise and we should watch, but we just got, I don't know, I got burnt out a little bit from the
I think we both
Claire
did.
Tasha season, and it ran right into Matt's season, and we're like, oh, let's just take a little break.
Yeah, it was just too much. And we were doing Bachelor Brunch on our YouTube, which is like our little series we were doing. And for us, it started to feel more like a job.
Yeah.
And like we had to watch it and had to do it, so it just became less fun.
Yeah.
But maybe next season we'll get back into it.
Totally.
We might watch the last few. Everyone always kind of like chimes in at hometowns and watches the finale. We might do that.
Yeah. I mean, were you surprised that Claire and Dale called it quits too soon? And did you feel like maybe he was pressured into proposing a little bit?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We know Claire. I know Claire a little bit. Just text her every now and then or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't really know Dale. And so it's really hard to tell because, when you're in that world, the story is so much different than what you see on TV sometimes. I don't know, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, based off of what everyone saw on TV, I think the perception would be that he was pushed into it and no one's surprised they broke up. But we don't know what the story is behind the scenes, like Arie was saying.
Yeah, there's probably so much more that we don't know.
Right.
We'll say that I'm bummed because I was happy for them. So it was really cool to see her.
Yeah, we were gonna do a double date, but that never happened.
I know. So, but hey.
Have you talked to Claire since, or?
No, we're not really close. But a mutual friend that we would talk with sometimes, but no, I haven't.
Yeah, there have been some stories that came out this week, and I just wanted to get your take on it about some contestants that have said that they felt that producers manipulated their situations sometimes. I know, Ari, you have said to us in the past that, you kind of felt like sometimes the lead was set up to fail. Did you guys ever feel pressured at all to make certain decisions for the producers, or did you feel like you had complete say in what happened?
I think as a lead, I wouldn't say you have 100% control. I mean,
Right.
it is a TV show, so there's going to be aspects of that always to make it entertaining. But I think ultimately it falls on you. You're making the decisions. They're not going to put any words into your mouth. You're the one saying the things that you said, and so can you be led one way or the other? Yeah, of course. But at the end of the day, you're the one making the decisions. So don't you think?
Yeah.
There is, obviously it's a TV show. There's going to be some there's going to be some aspects of it that are twisted and turned to make a story.
Right.
But, we all make our decision at the end of the day.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because we talked about this morning, and
We did.
Arie's turning red.
I'm turning red because you don't want to say the wrong thing, because there is obviously a TV show being made, but there are still real relationships. We're proof of that. So we can't just totally knock it, because we're here and
it works.
so happy, and it worked for us. So will I say that it's for everybody? No. I mean, you have to have some tough skin, and you have to realize that at the end of the day, they are making a TV show.
Right. No, that's true. I mean, I don't know if you can say, but were you ever encouraged to keep people longer to stir up that drama, or were you able to kind of say goodbye to whoever you wanted to?
If you absolutely were like, no, she's got to go, that contestant would leave. If you put your foot down and you felt really strongly about something, then yes. But they might say to you, they might go, well, if we keep so-and-so until next week, we'll give you an extra hour with another person that you might want to hang out with. And then you're like, oh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
You kind of work hand in hand with them.
It's like a negotiation.
Yeah, it's a negotiation. Exactly.
Yeah, I'll give you this if you give me this. I know you guys haven't watched this season yet, but I don't know if you heard anything. A lot of it, it's the contestants are pretty catty, and it's a lot of bullying. I mean, is that kind of surprising to see or to hear about on the show? Because they have condemned bullying in the past, but it seems like this whole show, this whole season is centered around that and not really around the lead, Matt, at all. Like I feel like we don't really know what his narrative is, what his story is, because it's so centered around the girls.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the beginning, it normally is centered around the girls and whatever drama is happening in the house. We haven't watched it, so I don't know how it's different from the other ones.
Sure.
I will say the drama makes it more entertaining, so I can't say they're like shutting it down, probably.
Yeah.
But I have heard a lot about the cattiness and how it's kind of like watching Mean Girls happen in reality TV, which is sad, I think, because it's like I had such a good experience with most of the girls in the house, and I had so many friends, and it was fun hanging out with them. So it's unfortunate that they're not having that same experience.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, what is your number one tip for success following the show now that, Tasha and Zach, they're kind of navigating life post-Bachelor, and we have had some Bachelor breakups lately. So, I mean, what's your kind of number one tip for success following the show?
I think we've always said just do your own thing. Like, don't worry about other people and what they think and competing with other people in Bachelor Nation. Like, you don't need to focus on being the most popular, the most well-liked. Just focus on your relationship, and you guys will be successful if you do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, pack up their things and move to LA and change their lives completely. And that, I think, is the wrong thing to do. I think if you want to be a successful couple, you find your common ground like any couple does. And I think being away from that environment is probably the best thing.